It's too big. Fall back. Negative. Hold your ground. Incoming. Fire. Cover me. Reloading. There is nothing left for you here.
In the crimson sunset, the city was engulfed in flames. From above, a huge black shadow appeared, the dominant gorilla monster, looking down at the small, panicking humans. The flames raged, black smoke billowed, signaling the beginning of a fierce battle. In another place, thunderous roars tore through the air. A giant green creature appeared in the ruins, possessing unparalleled destructive power. Buildings shook, the ground shattered, and people could only flee in panic. The army rushed in, tanks and soldiers lined up, but all became small before the power beyond imagination. The battlefield was filled with smoke and fire. Heavy armed troops were advancing, trampling the dust and sand step by step, and tanks were roaring like bloodthirsty steel beasts. The sound of bullets whistling through the air, mingling with the roar of the green giant. In his rage, he lifted up huge blocks of iron and steel, throwing them away like small toys. The ground shook under his footsteps, while brave soldiers rushed forward, determined to resist the power beyond imagination. But every shot and every bullet seemed to only make him more mad. At the end of the ruined city, tanks and long lines of soldiers continued to advance.
You think this can hold him? Let's just hope we don't find out.
In the middle of the ruined city, the green monster roared, its eyes burning red like hellfire. It tore apart armored vehicles, crushing everything in its path. Skyscrapers collapsed with a thunderous explosion, dust covering the sky. The army counterattacked fiercely, tanks, armored vehicles, soldiers lined up in formation. Artillery shells and fire rained down, but he stood tall, his furious hands tearing metal apart. The battle escalated into a gigantic nightmare. Vehicles exploded. The earth and sky shook. The city turned into a sea of fire, and from the ruins, he raised his head high, like a god of destruction, challenging all the power of mankind. Smoke filled the sky. Sirens wailed as ambulances rushed through the chaos. But the city was no longer peaceful. On the collapsed avenue, the giant green monster roared, lifted tons of iron and steel, and smashed them down like toys. People fled in panic. Buildings collapsed piece by piece. The army poured in, rows of tanks and soldiers charging under the red sunset of fire and smoke. But before that crazy power, each war machine was crushed one by one. In the chaos, the city became a fierce battlefield, where people struggled to fight against a destroyer the world had never seen before. The sound of tank tracks crushing the ground. The soldiers lined up in a red sandstorm. On the barren battlefield, the dust swirled. The humans unleashed all their strength. But from the midst of the chaos, the giant green monster rushed forward, its eyes burning, its fists smashing into the steel vehicles, turning them into piles of scrap metal. Each step it took was an earthquake, shaking the entire desert. In the distant city, police sirens echoed. Armored vehicles rushed after it. But the destroyer still tore through all the defense lines, leaving behind smoke and ashes. In the burning city, he rushed like a hurricane. The roads cracked under his heavy footsteps. Armored vehicles and police cars chased after him. But no fence could hold him back. The tall buildings shook as he climbed. Glass shattered with a thunderous roar. From the top, he challenged all human strength, his eyes burning red in the smoke and fire. In the distant forest, white shadows rushed. A pack of fierce white tigers entered, their eyes blazing with fighting fire. And then, in the fateful moment, the giant Kong stepped out of the mist, facing the pack of destructive beasts. The confrontation between monster and monster had officially begun. The giant white tigers rushed across the blazing avenue, their claws tearing at the pavement, while the police and army fired desperately, their roars mixed with the thunderous explosions, turning the city into a living hell. Amidst the sea of black smoke, a giant figure appeared. Kong roared loudly, his footsteps pounding the ground like thunder. The steel bridge collapsed, red flames swirled, the pack of fierce tigers charged, and the battle between the beasts exploded fiercely. With each blow, blood and fire mixed together. Kong knocked down a tiger, but his body was full of injuries. His roar echoed throughout the city. In the rubble, he still stood tall, ready for the final battle, the battle that would decide the fate of all mankind.